Welcome to the bonus interview for the Eastside Queer Stories podcast. My name is Abe Zapata Jr. and I was the workshop facilitator for the 2019 Eastside Queer Stories workshop. I'm excited to be with one of our wonderful playwrights from the cohort, and I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi guys, my name is Cesar Carmona. My pronouns are he, him, his, and I wrote the play Masc for Masc.
Welcome to the podcast, Cesar. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
We're going to jump right in. Before the Eastside Queer Stories workshop, what kind of writing had you done before attending the workshop?
Honestly, if it wasn't a school assignment, I didn't do much writing. I did one other workshop before this, which was Casa 0101 for Brown and Out. I wrote a little meet cute, and that was about it. And after that is when I decided to jump into it a little more.
Nice. And can you tell us a little bit more about that play that you wrote for the Brown and Out Festival?
It was called Better Than Grinder. It was a story about someone who's like really awkward at meeting people and is totally against using essentially hookup apps. It's obviously a gay guy, and he ends up finding romance by playing Pokemon Go. It was just a niche little story for the geeky bears out there. And it's funny because I didn't even think about writing anything until someone challenged me to write something at the festival when I told them I didn't see a lot of bears being represented.
Nice. So I actually did not know that you had barely started writing. So before this, like any screenplays or anything like that, or?
Nothing at all, actually. The closest thing I guess you can come to that would be when I was like maybe 10. I used to write and draw my own comic books, but that's about it.
Oh, wow. Well, we're happy to have you. The listeners out there just listened to the play, and I'm sure they were laughing out loud. I'm sure.
Hopefully, yes.
Was there a particular moment or experience that sparked the idea for Masc for Masc?
Not any one particular moment in general. It's just I modeled the quote unquote lead, Daniel, after myself. I used to be very, I guess, very macho presenting and try to hide my gayness as much as possible, that kind of thing. It's that deep-rooted shame that you got from your family. And I just wanted an interesting way for, me to tell that story, something different.
Nice. Yeah, its story is essentially about like internalized homophobia, which in turn is also misogynistic in many ways. Was it hard revisiting those moments or being in that space, especially if this is something that you have kind of worked through?
Funny enough, it wasn't that hard. Like I kind of just fell back into it. It was really weird. And it let me analyze myself a little deeper than I did before, because I learned to accept the fact that I was gay, and just, I slowly evolved from that. But going back and just writing that character made me realize how far I've actually come along from the way I was before, where, you hide it so well that everyone's shocked that you're gay and you take it as a compliment. And it was, I don't know, it felt good to do that.
Yeah, so you were almost taking the piss out of yourself, so to speak.
Essentially, yeah.
No, yeah, and I love learning that. I don't think we really got to speak about that during the workshop at all. So that's a fascinating thing to find out. And so the Beelzebub, I'm terrible at saying the name, Beelzebub, or Beels for short.
Beels, yeah.
Where did anything, is that based on somebody? Is that also a part of yourself that you were kind of exploring?
Honestly, yeah, because as I've grown into my gayness, I've learned that, feminine traits aren't a bad thing. They're not, something to be looked down upon, something that need to be fixed or changed. And in my head, when I created Beels, I created essentially everything that Daniel didn't like about himself, So in turn, it was things that I didn't like about myself back then. So, Beals is flamboyant. He's proud. He doesn't give a flying fuck. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but yeah. Okay. And like he's just proud of who he is. And I mean, it's taken a while for me to get to that point. And in a way, Beals is what I was afraid of, and Beals is also what I want to become eventually. Just like, I don't care. Like, do with it what you want. And that's exactly how he is. Or they are. They.
Try to get me to watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
I still can't believe Valentina wouldn't take her mask off. Like, hello, it's called lip sync for your life?
Right.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful way to explore one's own identity is through other characters. And so then the third character, which is the past relationship, the ex, was that based on, you don't have to tell me, but was that based on anybody? Or was that just like from personal experience of men that maybe you missed out on because of preconceived notions?
Actually, you hit the nail on the head with the second one. It was like, I mean, there were so many opportunities that I did miss because I either wasn't out or I wasn't out to the person I was hanging out with when that opportunity presented itself. So I never took that chance. And it's the same thing with Daniel. He had a perfectly good relationship, but he screwed it up. He was so afraid of it that he just let it slip through his fingers.
Yeah, and I love that this work is going to get out there, because I hope that listeners out there, especially cisgender gay men, can try to learn something.
Definitely.
So yeah, so the title itself is poking fun at the way men, particularly cisgender gay men, talk about masculinity and femininity. Were you nervous about broaching the subject?
Not necessarily. But like I said, it was mostly for me that I wrote it, because it was like my experiences and whatnot. If I upset people, or if people were gonna get offended by it, then I did something right, because then it gets them thinking about certain things. If it's either negative or positive, hopefully it's positive experiences all around, but we know that's not always the case. But if I get a reaction out of people, then I did a good job.
And what do you want listeners to take away from this piece?
I would love it if they took from it like just a better understanding of themselves, especially the cis gay men out there who are maybe proud of being cis gay men. Like, don't think of it as an attack. Think of it as an exploration of who you are, and question yourself: are you doing this because that's who you are, or are you doing it because that's what society has told you to be? It's because, I mean, again, bringing it back to myself, because why wouldn't I? I started realizing that there were certain things I would do was because society told me to do it, or because I felt that's what society expected of me. And you don't have to do that. I know it was trickier back then when we were younger, but especially now, it should be okay. And for the more femme presenting, or people who are non-binary, like, just do what you want, be who you are, and it's all good. I mean, be like Beals and don't give a shit. Like, that's what I would ask them to take away from it.
What kind of pressure did you feel, or what actions did you take, or things that you said that were from society's pressure you feel? Now that you have time to look back.
The idea, I mean, the most basic thing for me was the idea of wearing pink. Like, that was the biggest one for me. Like, I made sure never have anything pink on me, never have anything pink. And I mean, now it's like pinks. I have pink socks, pink underwear, pink everything. It's like, it looks good. Why not? Like, that's a very tiny one that I got from that, but it was definitely something that was ingrained in me. And then specifically, the part in the play where they talk about how Daniel took being called straight as a compliment. I do remember distinctly something like that happening to me where someone told me, it was like, "Oh, I thought you were straight." I was like, and automatically, I didn't say it out loud, but automatically in my head, I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like that's what I thought. And that's when it was like, why do I need to be thankful for that? Like, what's the reason to be thankful for being thought of as straight, or as opposed to someone saying, "Oh, cool, you're gay, awesome." It's just those little things that would just pop into my head as I wrote it.
And there's the monologue about the bubblegum ice cream, right?
Yeah, bubblegum ice cream, yes.
And it turns his lips red. And so I think the other thing also is listeners out there being conscious of what they're telling young people, whether they are young men or women or folks that are finding out that they are non-binary, and the words that we use and the words that we tell these young people, it does affect them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I would remember being called maricon a few times when I was younger, just for even crying because I stubbed my toe or something. And it has a profound effect on you because that's not how you want, or that's how they make it seem like you shouldn't be perceived when it's not really a bad thing. I mean, and it became really hard to express emotions after that. So yeah, if people can take away that kind of thing from it, like those kind of lessons, then I'm really proud of the play.
Nice, yeah, and you should be proud, and even for straight men out there, like, to understand that crying isn't gay, or nothing is inherently gay or straight. It's just what we put on these actions, these colors, pink.
Yeah,
It's an innocuous thing when you think about it, but when you're younger, it's like, oh, that's a girl color.
Yeah, and it can end up dictating how you perceive the world around you and how you want people to perceive you, which in turn ends up, changing you as a person, because you start avoiding things that make you want to avoid that perception.
But in public, you acted different, especially around straight guys. If they were around, you always managed to walk a few inches in front of me. Or if a coworker said fag, you wouldn't correct them.
It's not my job to police straight people.
You're right. It's not. But you could have at least introduced me to your coworkers as something other than your friend.
What did you gain or learn from being a part of the ESQS workshop?
If anything, the importance of reading it out loud to get a better understanding of everything. I mean, I learned more from having, all of us sit down, like when we would read the plays, and you can just hear it out loud and hear what works, what doesn't work. I think that was the biggest takeaway from it. Just the idea of having a support system, someone who can tell you, hey, that didn't work, or try it this way. Just bouncing off ideas off of people is integral in the creation process, or I felt.
Yeah, dialogue is so important to be read out loud, for theater, for film, for television. So yes, having that community and also having folks that are going to understand the piece, I think, is helpful. For Masc, the director was Daniel Muñoz.
Yes.
Who I interviewed a couple of weeks ago. When it came to your involvement with the play, with this audio play, it was a pretty fast situation, about 3 rehearsals, and then we recorded. How involved were you with the process?
Well, I had the benefit of being friends with Danny for I don't even know, probably too long, but we've been friends for a while. And so when he said that he wanted to direct my play, I was like, all right, cool. I honestly expected him to just take the reins and let him run with it. And of course, that's nerve-wracking for a writer, but at the same time, I understood that that's kind of how it works. But no, he brought me on to the auditions. He asked me my opinion, we would discuss it. He asked very specific questions of the actors, and he would ask me if those questions were accurate to the play itself, if maybe he was misinterpreting something. So it was really cool because we were working in tandem with each other, essentially. And I mean, it also had the benefit of he was there when I wrote it. And actually, I want to give him full credit because he's the one that gave me the title. Because I remember I went through like 3 drafts without it having a title because I had no idea what to call it. So, and he gave me that title and it worked amazingly with the script. So like it was super easy and amazing to work with him and to work with the actors.
Yeah, shout out all actors, all 3 actors, Matthew, Scott, John Luke, and Peter.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was a really fun. It was like one of the funnest recordings that we got to do. So I got to be there with my mask and from a distance, and so just being there was a lot of fun, and the energy was definitely felt. So you could feel it.
I'm glad. Yeah, it was, and it's really tricky when you're doing rehearsals through Zoom because because of the weak internet connections, the interruptions, that kind of thing. It makes it hard to get the energy flow between the actors to get everything going. But they were amazing throughout the whole thing. Like they were super chill. They went with the flow, and I really appreciated that, especially knowing how hard it is to act, to try to do anything through Zoom. Really, it's just it's exhausting. It can get exhausting.
You had the opportunity to act in Jess Sen's play Sunsnapped, which you auditioned for and you ended up getting. How was that experience for you?
Honestly, I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought we did a really good job with it. And again, it was the same thing like with the cast for Masc, where it was really exhausting because it's on Zoom. Like it's usually a lot easier when you get to connect with your actors in person. But I thought it was a really good job. The script was amazing. I think it's going to transfer over to audio play like really easily, really fun. So yeah, I think the hardest part was making sure my internet connection was good because apparently I have really crappy internet.
Yeah, it's been a year, Cesar.
I need to get on that.
But it's okay, it happens. But yeah, no, I'm happy that you were able to that you landed the role of the mean, abusive father.
I'm pretty typecast. I usually get those roles.
Hey, you know what? It's sometimes best to just be a character actor and have a specific niche.
Oh yeah. It's actually funny enough. Nathaniel was the character that played the son, the lead character, and I actually played his father once before, so it was pretty easy to just fall into that one again.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's funny how we don't know that you knew each other, and so it's funny how the world works sometimes.
Oh yeah. But it makes it fun especially when you're doing a show together and you've already worked with the person. It makes it so easy to just fall back into, rehearsals and just having fun with each other. It was really cool.
Nice. And Sophie was the director, so shout out to Sophie as well.
Great job.
Yeah. So I'm that one's coming a little bit later and is one of our more dramatic pieces. So I'm excited. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. So that's always good, I think.
Hi, I'm Ana Bernal, Executive Director and founder of Q Youth Foundation. I wanted to give a special thanks to our listeners worldwide. And if you have enjoyed our ESQS series, please consider making a donation to Q Youth. We are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to building creative and brave spaces for the LGBTQIA+ community. Check out our website at www.qyouthfoundation.org to learn more about us and donate to support our programming. Thank you.
So Cesar, working on any other projects at the moment?
At the moment, not really anything set in stone. I have a few scripts that I'm starting to write, but I am suffering from wanting to work on all of them at the same time. So it's kind of like you work on one, you forget about it for a few weeks, you work on another one and you forget about that one for a few weeks. And next thing you know, you have 5 different files on your computer that haven't been touched in over a month. I think the fatigue from the pandemic has set in, and I'm just not focused on that. But I am working on trying to develop a curriculum for an after-school program I teach for theater. That has my focus right now. So I think that would be the biggest project I have right now.
Cool. So do you also teach acting or writing or just theater?
So what we do in the program is just getting the basics of theater for kids. We teach them, stage directions, projecting, how to, I think that the trickiest thing is how to hold their breath so they can talk for long periods of time. So we're just covering the basics, and usually what I like to do is teach those because it gives them a chance to learn how to speak up, how to give presentations in school, because that's the most immediate thing that they can learn and benefit from, as opposed to like learning acting skills. The acting skills would come in later when they get a little older.
And so if someone wanted to follow you, where could people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Theater Geek. You can find me on Facebook with the same name, Theater Geek C. Yeah, those are the two main ones. I don't really have a website yet.
All good. And is it Theater Geek like all one word? Is there any underscores?
Nope, just Theater Geek or Theater Geek C. You should be able to find me.
Nice. So yes, so please follow Cesar at Theater Geek and Theater Geek C over on Facebook.
Yes.
Are you thinking about making this piece longer, or do you kind of feel like you're at peace with it?
Don't think I want to make it longer. If I do make it longer, it wouldn't be that much, really. The story was very condensed, but it made sense to me. I think what I want to do though is make it into a short film, and I think it would benefit from that, because then we could use special effects, makeup for all the fun stuff, all the supernatural stuff that goes on. But other than that, I haven't really thought about extending that play.
I was just curious. All right, sweet. So thank you for joining us for the Eastside Queer Stories, and make sure to follow Cesar Carmona at Theater Geek on Instagram and Theater Geek C at Facebook.
Yes.
Make sure to subscribe and share on all your social media platforms. Cesar, any final words for those listening?
Don't be afraid to be yourself.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. And say goodbye to all the lovely people listening out there.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye. And make sure to subscribe.
Definitely.